Welcome to Nell Town, my O-gauge model railway. It is divided into a number of parts which I will show you now. This is the TMD where I have added the footprint for the main workshop shed in MDF. The building is made up of two versions of the same scale seams kit, cut and joined. The inspection pits are Pico and I have added LEDs. I have used two Nightwind kits for the diesel fuel storage tanks in a yet-to-be-designed storage area and also a double-length fueling point. The single shed and single fuel point are both backman. The rear retaining wall is scratch-built wrapped with scale seams, aged red brick paper. The blue drains are all designed by me on Lightburn and cut using an Xtool D1 Pro, which I have found is very beneficial for my scratch-build projects. The lower lines head into a scratch-built tunnel mouth and the upper lines lead into Nell Town Station close to a disused goods yard, which a local entrepreneur is transforming for the community. Nell Town was seen in my very first video. This is the disused goods yard. I have amended the track work recently so some needs to be weathered again. I have still to add various features such as rusty rails, sleepers etc., including workmen. In fact, people need to be added everywhere on the layout as I progress with the scenery work. The skip is scratch-built by myself, painted and weathered. The small and large goods sheds are both scale seams and cannot be faulted in design and ease of build. To the bottom of the frame you will see one of my helices that lead down to a lower deck, where a fiddle yard will be housed. I thought it best to get these in place as part of the initial construction. All the walls you see are scratch-built and use various scale seams papers. The small loco shed is a ratio kit bought at the Aberdeen Model Railway exhibition. A friend let me have the MSC container, but I decided to also scratch-build my own, which is the green one next to it, as that gives me scope to have a multitude of colors and fairly cheap. Clearly some of the intricate detail I find difficult to recreate, but a lot can be hidden with weathering and scenic elements. Now we enter the countryside. With the town of Hotham, and homage to my primary school 55 years ago. The town is served by a small station. Even though it is a small town station, Network Rail have built new lift towers into the original footbridge. Both the bridge and lift towers are scratch-built. Network Rail are also working with a civil engineering group to add lifts at Nell Town, which you saw in the first video but will see later in this video as fencing is created. The trees are seafoam, but the conifers are made using butterfly bush flowers, dried, painted and with scatter then added. Sweeping around is the old mill with a scratch-built water wheel and mill race. The tower is a copy of Kinnoul Tower in Angus. The area of earth to the bottom of the frame as we leave the countryside will be a ballast storage facility based on Inch in Aberdeenshire. I wanted to get some decent bridge and viaduct structures in the layout and, although not very realistic due to their close proximity, I wanted a valley and river. As can be seen, there is a lot of work to do here to complete things, as there is with the countryside area leading up to the bridges. I will call this scenic area, Two Bridges, harking back to when my wife and I lived in Devon. We now enter what will be the main city aspect of the layout with Nell Town Junction the major station. I am considering basing the station on Richmond in London, so this will need to be another scratch build. The boxes are all there so I can get a feel for high-rise buildings around the upper level. Between the two levels of track I am considering the possibility of businesses in railway arches, which I know are regularly modelled, but I consider this type of thing adds visual interest to a layout and can still be personalised. In this area will be a retail or business park, leading to the entrance of the TMD. All of this is yet to be designed and, as can be seen from the last clip, is also a dumping ground for bits and pieces. I should be tidier. Talking about the previous clip, you will have seen the TMD workshops I mentioned earlier in the video, the two scale seams kits joined together. So here we are at Nell Town and the work in progress. The footbridge is another of Scalescene's superb models, but I wanted to add my own twist. So having recently been to London and seen Barn Station having a similar upgrade, I thought, why not? The scaffolding is again scratch-built with the aid of the laser cutter. I did damage a number of attempts when gluing together as the framework is so fragile. The porter cabins and steps up to the office are again my own work. I know many kits are available, but I sometimes want to challenge myself. Due to it being a busy layout with one platform being an island one, getting materials to the site would prove difficult. You have to imagine that at night a mobile crane comes in and lifts material into the working areas. Some of the station car park will be cordoned off with more solid fencing. I will also add various material and sheeting in the next phases. So these are the feet, designed in the software package Lightburn, and now being cut by the laser. The fencing proved more difficult and I had to have a number of attempts to get the widths of the mesh as small as possible but balance that with them being burned out by the laser when cutting. I think I have got it just about right. Once I got a test run correct, I made a number of join panels. The panels being cut. The feet all cut. I made up a wash with a bit of Dulax test pot paint, rabbit's whiskers, which to me resembles concrete, and gave the feet a quick soak and then dried them. The panels all cut. Once cut out I sprayed them with a matte varnish to seal, then a light dusting of an automotive grey primer and finally, dry brushed with Humboldt flat aluminium. By keeping this light it gives a weathered, used impression as the grey primer gives the anodized look. I also cut out a few extras from the failed trials and have glued them together as a pile of fencing ready to replace damaged panels etc. In the bottom center are also the start of 1-ton drop sacks. 3 bits of 2mm MDF cut to 12mm by 12mm with 12mm high newspaper edge wrapped around. Once filled with sand as a top layer I think they will look okay. Handles will also need to be added. I will also need to make pallets and bags of cement as the towers are still being completed, piles of bricks and blocks as well as metal sheeting. The panels and feet glued and ready to add to the layout. The finished article lightly supported while the glue dries.